Am I the asshole for sneaking out and causing my sister to lose her job? My sister is 33, female, and I'm 14, female. She had a baby 3 months ago. I just got out of school for the summer and really wanted to rest, but my sister decided she wants to finally get a job. Now she's making me babysit my niece. I have zero experience with babies, and I get overstimulated easily. It's been really hard for me. I asked her if she could put the baby in daycare or something, but she refused. I decided to just suck it up, but it's been exhausting. I have insomnia, and it's hard to sleep when I feel like I need to be awake 24/7 to watch the baby. I'm constantly scared something might happen if I fall asleep. I told my mom how I felt, but she said I just had to deal with it. Both my parents work, so I'm left alone with the baby for hours almost every day. A few days ago, I got tired of everything. The night before my sister got ready for work, I snuck out and went to my friend's house so I wouldn't have to deal with it and could finally get some sleep. When I came home that morning after I saw all the missed calls and messages, and my mom and sister were really mad at me. They said I was being selfish and lazy. My sister even quit her job because I told her I'd leave again if she kept making me babysit. I definitely felt bad after. It feels like my whole family is barely talking to me except for my dad, and even he said I shouldn't have done that. Also, I love my niece. This isn't hate to her, she's adorbs. A little edit for more info. I see my dad being brought up a bit, but he works in different places with steel work, so he's very rarely home, but we do call often. My niece's father doesn't want anything to do with her or my sister. It's been that way since she was pregnant anyway, so she left him and moved back in with us. She had a job before but quit to take care of the baby when she was a newborn, and up until now, of course. Also, her and my mom work at the same place, so they're both night shift jobs, and they're tired when they come home from working, so I usually have to watch my niece a bit longer so they can rest when they get home, since they expect me to sleep while I'm babysitting, but I just can't. I'm so paranoid something could happen. Even when I'm feeding the baby and she coughs even a little, or if she's sleeping too hard, I panic. And honestly, I didn't even know daycare wasn't free until I read these comments. I thought maybe it was like public school. Sorry. You're not the asshole, you did what you did out of desperation. Sit down with your mom and dad and say calmly, "Sister is 33, she chose to have a child, and that means it is her responsibility to figure out childcare instead of trying to steal my childhood from me. You are being irresponsible parents by allowing her to abuse me in this way. I will not be babysitting again, and if I'm left alone with the child again, I will call the police and report child abandonment." Not the asshole. If you didn't make the baby isn't your responsibility. Your sister made the baby, caring for the baby is her responsibility. And it's her responsibility to make sure substitute caregivers are willing to provide that care and are fairly compensated. What was her plan when school starts again? Make you drop out? Your parents are also asshole because they should have never allowed this to happen. 100% not the asshole. To expect a 14-year to be the sole care provider for an infant is insane. Was she paying you? If not, then you are not obligated to take care of her child. She is the mother, she is the one who needs to figure it out. Girl, go enjoy your summer. Not the asshole. Even without getting into the issue of a 14-year-old being expected to babysit an infant full-time, unpaid, the fact that you have insomnia makes you a dangerous choice to care for the baby. You're right to worry about what could happen if you unintentionally fall asleep when you're the only one home with the baby. I bet if your mom or sister got home and found you asleep, with the baby crying or in an unsafe place, they'd be even madder about that. Not the asshole. You're a child. Your niece is not your responsibility. You didn't agree to babysit. It's causing you health problems. Your sister's child is your sister and the father's responsibility. Not the asshole. This shouldn't have been your responsibility, and you clearly communicated that you couldn't bear it. It would have been better if you had let people know that you bailed out, instead of sneaking out and keeping them in the dark, but even that responsibility cannot be placed on a 14-year-old. Am I the asshole for saying no to hosting my sister-in-law and her additional needs kid overnight again? A few months ago, my sister-in-law and her daughter, who is 3, came to stay with us for nearly a week because she is getting assessed for autism in our state. I had suggested to my partner that they stay in a hotel, even offered that we cover the costs because my sister-in-law is what I could only call a free-range mom. She is struggling and is likely trying to do whatever will make the day go by. Anyway, they visited, and we have a 4-year-old son. He has his routines, we have our rules at home. Aside from our weekly movie night, he doesn't access any other screen time and doesn't have a personal device. My SIL's kid was glued to her iPad the entire time, volume on loud, and if my sister-in-law tried lowering the volume, the kid would start screaming. It seems that the sister-in-law never actually carried through with it. We tried to be accommodating. She sat at the dinner table with us for dinner on her iPad. Our son was very curious, and at first we were like, this is a good opportunity for him to understand some people do things differently for whatever reason. But by day 3, it was clear that this wasn't just about the kid getting used to a different environment, it was full-blown chaos. Constant screaming and banging well into the night, the iPad on loud until nighttime too. It kept everyone up. We have a large 5-bedroom home and we all stayed up because of it, including our son who could not sleep until he asked to stay in our room. I occasionally WFH but just couldn't and had to leave. The lack of boundaries extended to other areas too. My sister-in-law would say she was stepping out for a walk and be gone for hours, leaving her daughter with us with no heads up or prep. And I want to be clear, I have so much empathy. I know parenting a child with additional needs is exhausting. I know she likely never gets a break. But I didn't sign up to be free childcare, especially when we were already hosting them, driving them around, buying a lot of additional frozen food and snacks that we never keep at home so that the daughter could eat. All while trying to maintain some structure for our own kid. My partner and I argued about it afterward. He felt I was being too harsh. I said, if they need to come again for another assessment, we either book and pay for a hotel if they really can't afford it or set very clear boundaries about what kind of help we're able to offer and stick to them. Now my sister-in-law needs to come to our state again and has asked to stay for the few days she is here. My partner thinks I'm being unkind and unsupportive, but I honestly think we did everything we could last time and hosting again is just too stressful. So I said no. Am I the asshole for saying no to hosting them overnight again? Mean suggestion incoming. How about you book a hotel for you and your son and let your partner deal with his sister and niece? He won't invite them again. In other words, Nacho. Edited to add not the asshole one bit. Take your kid and stay in the hotel for a vacation. Husband can get to know his niece better. Take your son and go have a staycation at a hotel. Let your husband deal with it. All of it. Like, the house needs to look the same as you left it. Not the asshole. Not the asshole. If your husband is not going to support you, rent an Airbnb for you and your son. He needs to be inconvenienced by the sister-in-law's visit. Not the asshole. But maybe leave and use that hotel room for yourself and your kid. Your partner can stay at home and host. Take your son and go for dates during the weekends and evenings and leave your husband to deal with his sister and her child. Or better yet, book a hotel for you and your son. Am I the asshole for refusing to use an English name? Using an old throwaway for this cause some of my coworkers know my main. I'm 20 female and I'm ethnically Korean but grew up bouncing around different countries due to my parents' job. My friend said that I'm passively bilingual, in that I understand when my grandparents speak Korean to me, but I struggle to respond. Forget about reading or writing lol. My parents both grew up in the US and the grandparents I have left speak English, so my bad Korean never caused any communication problems. My parents gave me a Korean name and never gave me an English name, who knows why, even though a lot of ABCs usually go by an English name at school or work. This is fine by me. I like my name and yeah, it sucked when some teachers got it wrong growing up, but that's life. Now here's the problem. I started a part-time job and there's another girl working there. Emma, fake name, maybe 25 ISHF? Is uncomfortable because of my name. Thing is, Emma is Muslim and takes her religion really seriously. She wears the hijab, prays at work. And apparently my name means something bad in her religion? She doesn't call me by my name, it's always, hey you, or something like that. She recently complained to our manager, Jen, who really is just our equal with a nicer title, that my name is insulting to her religion. The two of them basically cornered me in the break room and asked if I can go by a nickname or an English name. I said no obviously, but Emma and Jen think I'm not respectful of Emma's religion and it's not a big deal to use an English name since so many Asians do, and it's not like I speak Korean or anything. I'm not sure if this is a hill worth dying on, but I also feel like I shouldn't have to go by another name. Am I the asshole? Edit. Just got back to this post and I'm blown away by everyone's support and wisdom, face holding back tears, thank you all. I'm reading all of your comments and will think about what I will do next. I definitely do not want to cave at this point. Some people have correctly guessed my name lol and I am near tears over the sweet messages you've sent about it. Thank you again, heart hands. You're not the asshole. Emma, fake name, maybe 25 ISHF, is uncomfortable because of my name. Tough crap, that's her problem. I'm not sure if this is a hill worth dying on, but I also feel like I shouldn't have to go by another name. Yes, it is. The world doesn't have to bend over to accommodate what makes the Emmas of the world feel uncomfortable. Not the asshole. Your name is your name. It's part of who you are, and you shouldn't be expected to change it just because someone else finds it uncomfortable. Suggesting you adopt an English name when you already have a name, and then using your ethnicity and language ability to justify it, crosses a line and comes off as xenophobic. Also this part, it's not a big deal to use an English name since so many Asians do. Saying, so many Asians do, doesn't make it okay to expect you to do it. That mindset reduces your identity to a stereotype and treats your name like an inconvenience instead of a basic part of who you are. Not the asshole. Suggest you'll go by Emma, but only if the other Emma goes by another name instead. When they say that's unreasonable, reply that yes, wanting someone to change their name is unreasonable. That's really racist on their part, beyond microaggression, and into straight-up aggression. Write everything down. Who, what, where, when, why. If, when, they continue, take it to our. Not the asshole. Your name is your name. Different languages exist and Emma isn't the center of the universe. Absolutely die on this hill, because it's so disrespectful and entitled for someone to expect you to change your name for them. She doesn't have to like it. Not the asshole. Finns here can correct, but years ago I learned that in Finnish there's a boy's name called Vilo, spoken as Vilo. Well, where I come from that word means dick. Would I ask a guy to change his name because it's the exact word for dick? No, it's his name, I would get over it. That being said, there's also many Richards that go exclusively as dicks. They don't even turn around for Richard. So there's that. Your name is your name. If after so many years you didn't adopt an English name, then no one can force you. Do you happen to have HR in your company? I would reach out to them after that cornering of Emma and your manager. It wasn't right at all for them to do that. Am I the asshole for telling my mom she is nothing but a mistress? Backstory. My dad has been dead for almost 4 years. Significant age difference, he was 18 years older, so she was a caregiver for the last 5 years. She is now early 60s. She started seeing a man that she met through Facebook dating while my dad was still alive. Fast forward, her and let's call him Bob are together. Bob is from another country but has PR in Canada. They dated for 6 months and then he moved in with my mom. He has significant health issues and so has not been working. She has been the sole financial provider. He has not had a driver's license, etc. He then brought his family over from other country, which included wife and 3 older children. My mom knew about this, but claimed they had been separated for years and there was nothing romantic. Bob brings his family here and moves out from my mom's house into an apartment with wife and children to help them settle. Kept telling my mom it would only be a few months. It has now almost been a full year. To complicate matters, they opened a store together in the local mall, selling wares from his home country. I don't believe it's exceptionally profitable, and now my mom, who has a full-time job and should be retiring, is spending many evenings and weekends running the store while he is with his family. They all do multiple activities together, but he immediately stopped showing any affection towards my mom, which was minimal to begin with, as soon as the wife moved to Canada. I basically said in a baffled state, enough is enough. This isn't a relationship, and told her she was nothing but a known mistress who his wife is tolerant enough of to keep around as a cash cow. Am I the asshole? Do I just let it go and let her live in this delusional state? I'm worried it's going to have some serious financial, emotional and mental consequences. Not the asshole. Probably not the nicest way to have said it, but it does sound like Bob is taking advantage of your mom in what sounds like an in-person variation of a romance scam. Not the asshole. Was your mother groomed by your father? That's a pretty big age gap. Sounds like your mom has enabled immigration fraud. It might be worth contacting a lawyer, to be honest. Call Adult Protective Services. Your retirement-aged mother is being taken advantage of and sounds like she's assisting in immigration fraud through manipulation. Not the asshole. But your mother isn't a mistress. Mistresses at least get affection. The term you're looking for is paid pig. Consider contacting immigration authorities. That's probably the only way into this. That, or some medical diagnosis that she is unfit to make financial decisions. I'm not sure that mistress is necessarily the best description of your mother, but she is very clearly being taken advantage of, and it sounds like she has been the victim of some kind of romance scam. Insulting her may not be the best way to get through to her.